Time is the most valuable good to humanity, and in particular, obviously, also to our customers. And so the aspect of timelessness is at the core center of all our thinking to create these products. Our cars are around for more than 100 years and are to be designed to do just that. How do you make a car timeless? For it to be timeless, it needs to be authentic. It needs to tell a story. All of our experiences from these high-speed programs like Veyron and Chiron are the foundation for this new project. We were able to implement all the right steps in its architecture from the get-go. So we were able to shape proportions and volumes in the most uncompromising way, tailor-made to its purpose. And the purpose of this car is, again, to combine elegance with speed. If you want to create a car to go beyond 400 kilometers an hour, aero balance is key. You don't want to overload the tires because the tires at that speed are critical. So you neither want downforce nor lift at top speed. To create this neutral balance, you actually do have to create a lot of downforce to cancel out all the lift happening at that speed. If you imagine an aircraft at that speed would have long taken off, so that's easily enough to lift an entire aircraft, but you try to keep the car on the ground. To create this much downforce without causing too much drag, the base shape of the car is key. So if we draw a section through the tourbillon, you can see that the base shape of the car is already very close to the aerodynamic ideal, like a drop shape, or even if we compare the side view to a falcon. And what does the falcon do if it nosedives for its prey? It tucks under its wings. Why does it do that? Is to reduce its frontal area. And here we also draw inspiration from Jean Bugatti, the son of Ettore Bugatti, the founder of the company, who created the Type 57 SC Atlantic, a car which we regard as one of the most beautiful cars on the planet. And he had a concept that he called surbaiser, where he submerged the engine below and behind the front axle to get the bonnet lower, to get the driver lower, still being able to look over the bonnet, to ultimately get the roof lower and reduce its frontal area. Like that, the car was aerodynamically efficient like no other car in the time. And the same principle we thought very suitable for the development of the tourbillon. So the tourbillon, in comparison to the Chiron, has a much reduced frontal area by reducing the height of the car in overall and also the cabin width, while maintaining all its ergonomic dimensions on the interior. This doesn't only have aerodynamic implications, but also proportional implications. And that's where beauty comes together with technical necessities. And this is the exact symbiosis that we are quite proud of at Bugatti. It's shaped by speed. All the shapes and volumes serve a certain purpose. In our case, mostly aerodynamic purposes. So every shape, intake, outlet is there for a reason and is shaped like that to fulfill a specific function. The front-end architecture of the tourbillon is unique as well in a way that we now have the wide horseshoe grille feeding two radiators left and right with a high-pressure air inlet and a low-pressure exit. That way we create a pressure drop and have the maximum efficiency in airflow through the radiators. Also, it enables us to have the front boot packaged in between those two radiators with a really tall suitcase that reaches all the way to the bottom of the car. That way we can design the striker, the lock and the hinges in a really lightweight and compact fashion. So overall, this is a lightweight architecture. To reduce the frontal area, we have submerged the entire volume of the cabin 33 millimeters lower into the monocoque in comparison to Chiron, while maintaining the same cabin ergonomics. This gives us a really extreme proportion where the cabin crouches in between the two front wings really low. And the reduction of frontal area isn't only aerodynamically beneficial, but it also serves its proportions. What do I mean by proportions? It's the aspect ratio between, for instance, the overall diameter of the wheels in relation to the overall height of the vehicle. If we shrink down the height of the vehicle, the wheels look larger, it's beneficial for its proportions. To reduce overall vehicle height, we have mounted the seat directly to the monocoque and deleted the seat rails. Instead, the pedals and the steering wheel are adjustable longitudinally. That way, the driver can sit really close to the ground, and we can even accompany taller drivers with maximum comfort. The rear-end design of the Tourbillon lives off of the contrast between the more reflection-based and sculptural surfaces up above and the more fragmented and aero-driven technical surfaces down below. Ultimately, it is a really slim proportion that emphasizes the width perception on the rear end. The whole aero concept of not needing to deploy the rear wing in top speed mode and having the base shape of the car cancel out all the lift in top speed is only made possible by this really extreme and unique diffuser. These diffuser channels are more than 2 meters long and start right underneath the seat and exit really tall. This was only made possible by eradicating a crash beam in its classical sense. So now we have the diffuser vertical fins absorb all the kinetic energy in case of a crash. Furthermore, we have positioned the exhaust outlets at the very trailing edge of the diffuser to further energize the airflow and make the diffuser create as much downforce as it possibly can. Every bit of downforce that you create using a rear wing, you pay for with drag. To avoid drag, the strategy for this car was to not deploy the rear wing in high-speed mode. The car does have a rear wing for handling mode or for air braking. However, in the high-speed mode, the wing stays completely submerged to save the drag. That means, in turn, the base shape of the car has to be so aerodynamically efficient that it creates all the downforce necessary to cancel out the lift at Vmax, at the top speed. And so this isn't an easy thing to do, and this is only possible if you implement this kind of strategy from the very first pencil stroke.